Yousef Zia's declaration. This nation will once again be great on the day specialty farming becomes viable. The party's momentum is undeniable, and it's evident that they're not just talking about change, they're building the machinery to deliver it, from grassroots movements to targeted campaigning reform. Farage's charismatic leadership is positioning the party as the antidote to a political class out of touch with the concerns of ordinary voters. This is nothing less than a rallying cry for a growing political force in Britain. Whether the establishment likes it or not, the Farage phenomenon is far from finished as the UK quickly emerges as a major force in politics, paving the way for a significant change in the balance of power. Watch the interview look. The Liberal Democrats won 500,000 fewer votes than Reform, and yet have 14 times as many parliamentarians, so we have to respect that. So that is what we are trying to build now, across the country, at rapid speed, faster than it's ever been done before. We already have over 200 branches open across the country. We're going to be building and aground a strong local base and elect councillors starting with English county councils in May next year. That's the Liberal Democrat model, delivering people on a local basis and using it as a platform to build parliamentary. The Liberal Democrats went into coalition, of course, with the Conservatives in 2010. Would that be something that you would consider? We don't need to, because we've just gone from 15% in the polls to 20%. As of this weekend, we have all the momentum in British politics. And the point about Labour, if you look at our journey in 3 months from 15 to 20% in the polls, all of that support has come at the expense of K Street. But actually, when you say use bold declaration, the day Nigel Farage becomes P is the day this country begins. Being great again is more than just praise for Farage. It's a call for a revival of Britain's lost stature. The word great here refers to more than just patriotism. It is a loaded term that represents the desire to restore the nation's identity, sovereignty, and traditional values, which many believe have been undermined by open immigration policies, globalism, and what they perceive to be the dismantling of national institutions under succeeding administrations. As the creator of the Brexit movement and an unrelenting opponent of the status quo, Nigel Farage continues to be one of the most divisive figures in British politics. Farage's brand is based on anti-establishment language that emphasizes national sovereignty, tighter immigration controls, and a popular message that appeals to his fans who feel left behind by the political elite. Farage is more than just a politician. He represents their discontent with both the Conservatives and Labour. They feel the two parties have not adequately addressed the actual issues facing ordinary Britons in terms of change and MP elections. His influence has only become stronger due to the UK's gradual ascent to prominence. His campaign has relied heavily on his ability to appeal to the complaints of disenchanted working-class voters, especially those left behind by globalization and de-industrialization. These voters view Farage as a political force capable of opposing the status quo reform and speaking for the forgotten. The UK's increasing momentum is not a coincidence. There is a noticeable discontent with the Labour and Conservative parties, especially in the former Red Wall Labour heartlands. Farage's party has taken advantage of this dissatisfaction by portraying itself as the genuine defender of British values. Labour's believe that the Conservatives' inability to address immigration control and sovereignty, along with their fixation on progressive metropolitan issues rather than the everyday worries of traditional working-class voters, has created the opportunity for reform. The party's hardline stance against what it calls unchecked illegal immigration and its calls for stronger borders have resonated with a significant portion of the electorate, especially in the wake of the ongoing migration crisis. Immigration control is still a key component of Reform UK's platform. Farage and his party are also appealing to people who feel that free speech is being attacked in the UK because of their outspoken hostility to identity politics and political correctness. Reform depends on this connection with the global trend of populism, where leaders who oppose the establishment are becoming more popular. The UK's approach, the discussion of a campaign-winning machine, suggests that Reform UKQ is establishing a robust grassroots movement to broaden their national reach and create the foundation for future election victory, rather than merely depending on rhetoric. This implies that the party has long-term goals to turn voter discontent into concrete electoral gains, although change in the UK faces many obstacles. Farage will need to greatly expand his base of supporters because the UK's first post-election system is notoriously harsh on smaller parties, favouring the more established players. Additionally, Farage's divisive reputation may limit the party's appeal to moderate voters who are wary of populism. Despite these obstacles, the UK political landscape offers a chance for reform. Farage has the opportunity to emerge as the alternative in the UK as both main parties failed to win back the support of their core constituents in an atmosphere of growing voter disenchantment and dissatisfaction with the political elite overhaul. Like Farage accomplished with Brexit, the UK might very well turn into the party of the disillusioned. The question is whether Farage can turn that momentum into actual power. A rising portion of the voters is clearly responding favourably to Farage's message, as evidenced by the rally's remarkable turnout. Like many other regions of the nation, Newton Abbot has undoubtedly experienced frustration. Despite decades in the political spotlight, Farage's ability to draw sizable crowds demonstrates that his appeal is still very much alive and well. By selecting a location like Trow Mills, a working-class neighbourhood, he is sending a clear message that he is addressing the constituencies that feel ignored by the political elite opposition to the establishment opposition. For those who feel abandoned by Westminster, national sovereignty, tighter immigration laws, and a harsh indictment of progressive politics remain relevant. These kinds of gatherings are crucial for maintaining grassroots momentum, particularly as election campaigns approach. They are not only political gatherings. A sizable working-class community that is suffering the effects of global economic shifts may be found in Newton Abbot, Devon, a historically conservative area. Farage's focus on regaining national sovereignty, combating uncontrolled immigration, and protecting British jobs speaks directly to these voters. His strategy is straightforward. Take advantage of the growing disenchantment among Labour and traditional Conservative supporters who feel that neither party is prioritising their issues anymore. Farage's ability to captivate an audience is one of his greatest strengths. His populist statements portray him as the defender of the people against the elites. This strategy gives his supporters a sense of empowerment and belonging, which attracts an increasing number of people to his rallies. His ability to speak in public is still crucial to keeping the reform movement in the UK moving forward. This gathering serves as yet another illustration of reform. The party is establishing itself as the genuine alternative to the stale political establishment thanks to the UK's increasing power under Farage's leadership. The growing numbers at these gatherings indicate that the party is effectively reaching out to people who believe they are being left out by the major parties. This momentum is essential to Farage's overarching ambition to turn the UK into a powerful political force that can compete with the Conservatives and Labour. Farage's robust backing in some bars, strong backing in areas like, as Mutant Abbott, suggests a more significant change: reform. If Farage continues to draw large crowds like this, the UK is ready to make substantial advances in crucial constituencies, particularly those where the Conservatives have lost ground or where Labour's traditional appeal to the working class has faded. It is a hint that reform is about to transform its populist rhetoric into actual political success on a national level. Nigel Farage is a liar and not a friend of the working class. The privatization of a public school by a private, equity-loving NHS Putin supporter